Welcome to the second part of my presentation. This is the index as I mentioned earlier. Now I'll continue with background information about translating humor. Generally, humor is present in all human cultures. Humor has distinct forms and phases such as double meaning, situations, wordplay, and often with unseen or obvious cultural references. Some humor is universal, but some depends on the culture. With this, a group of translators will perceive translating jokes as a challenge because of the risk of reducing the intended meaning of a joke. Now let's move on to factors that should be considered when translating humorous content. The first one is cultural context. People from different cultural backgrounds may see humor in a different way. Jokes can be an expression of the social and cultural environment in which they are created. As such, each culture can have its own special sense of humor that might be tied to its history, traditions, values, and beliefs. Oftentimes, this means that only people from that culture will understand a joke or find it funny. An obvious example would be that whereas in some countries certain animals are venerated as deities, in others these animals are consumed for sustenance. Think about kittens in the US versus kittens in remote areas of Guangxi, China. The second factor is target audience. One of the most important things to consider when translating humorous content is the target audience. The terminology we can or cannot use will vary if we are translating to a specific country or region. For example, if you encounter a word like cool in English, it might be particularly difficult to translate into Spanish. This is because cool can be translated in many different ways depending on the context and the target audience. For example, we have guay in Spain, chévere in Peru or Colombia, and copado in Argentina. The age of the target audience will also need to be known, since the approach we take translating content for children is considerably different than translating for an older audience. For example, we wouldn't be able to use an appropriate language or intricate vocabulary. The last factor is the joke's style. A principal characteristic of jokes are their style, such as wordplay, double meaning, or puns. In fact, puns and wordplay are two of the most common forms of humor. Puns are jokes that make use of words that sound alike or nearly alike but have different meanings. Wordplay is variable with based on the meanings and ambiguities of words. It is important to highlight that the way words sound and are written vary from language to language, hence the challenge for the translator. Related to double meaning, I will show you this joke as an example. What room does the ghost not have in his house? The living room. The previous joke may be difficult to translate into Spanish because the word living room does not have the double meaning of room of the house and alive as it does in English. Moving on to banned films because of their jokes. First, we have Shrek 2, banned in Israel in 2004. It was banned briefly, though not for the film itself, but because of the Hebrew dub. A joke about Israeli singer David Dior's high voice was added, in which one character threatened to emasculate another by saying, "Let's do a David Dior on him." This remark prompted the artist to take legal action. The second film is Monty Python's Life of Brian, that was banned in Norway in 1979. It was banned due to jokes that seemed offensive to religious people. To finish with, the success of translating humor can be relative because of the subjectivity of what individuals may or may not find humorous. It also depends on the genre, as certain forms of humor, especially situational or anecdotal, focusing on universal aspects of human life, considered equally funny by people from different cultures, are usually more easily translatable than culture and language-specific wordplays, puns, or idioms. However, a translator should bear in mind that the transmission of the humorous effect ought to be considered a primary factor in the success of humor translation. Even though translating humor may not be a priority in the process of training to be future translators, it is believed that working with humorous texts can be a helpful means in developing language skills, creativity, openness, and problem-solving skills. Here's the list of my references. Thanks for paying attention. If you have any questions, please let me know.